Brief case study on chain of custody. The tampered evidence case. A medium-sized e-commerce company, Global Gadgets, experienced a significant data breach. Sensitive customer data, including credit card information, was suspected to have been exfiltrated. The internal IT team initiated an immediate incident response, and a digital forensics firm was brought in to investigate the scope and cause of the breach. During the initial triage, a server log file appeared to contain evidence of unauthorized access. An IT staff member, eager to assist, copied the log file onto a USB drive and shared it with the forensics team. However, this action was not documented, and the USB drive was subsequently left unattended on a desk for a few hours before being collected by the forensics investigator. The issue: a breakdown in chain of custody. The crucial element of chain of custody, the chronological documentation of the seizure, custody, control, transfer, analysis, and disposition of physical or digital evidence, was compromised. The initial copying of the log file by the IT staff member was undocumented. There was no record of who handled the evidence, when it was copied, or the method used. Leaving the unsealed USB drive unattended created an opportunity for the evidence to be tampered with, even unintentionally. Impact on the investigation. The lack of a proper chain of custody raised serious doubts about the integrity and admissibility of the log file as evidence. Consequences include challenge to authenticity. The defense in any potential legal proceedings could argue that the log file might have been altered after the initial copy. Without a documented chain, it became difficult to prove its original state. Reduced evidentiary weight. Even if not legally challenged, the uncertainty surrounding the handling of the evidence weakened its probative value in the forensic analysis. Investigators had to be cautious about drawing definitive conclusions solely based on this potentially compromised log file. Increased investigation time. The forensics team had to spend additional time trying to corroborate the information in the log file with other evidence, potentially delaying the identification of the root cause and the implementation of remediation measures. Lessons learned. This case highlights the critical importance of maintaining a meticulous chain of custody from the moment potential digital evidence is identified. 1. Strict protocols. Organizations must have clear and enforced protocols for handling digital evidence, including who is authorized to access and copy data, the tools to be used, and the immediate documentation required. 2. Secure storage. All digital evidence must be securely stored and access controlled. Any transfer of evidence must be documented with timestamps, signatures, digital or physical, and the purpose of the transfer. 3. Training. All personnel involved in incident response, including internal IT staff, should be trained on the principles and procedures of maintaining the chain of custody. In conclusion, the Global Gadgets breach demonstrates that minor deviations from proper chain of custody procedures can significantly impact the credibility and usefulness of digital evidence in a forensic investigation and any subsequent legal actions. Finally, let's explore the importance of standardized forensic methodologies in ensuring consistent and accurate investigations. What are forensic methodologies? These are standardized procedures and guidelines for conducting digital forensic investigations. They provide a step-by-step approach to ensure that investigations are thorough, objective, and repeatable. Benefits of standardized approaches. Standardized methodologies provide a common language and framework, facilitating clearer communication and more effective collaboration among team members, stakeholders, and external parties such as law enforcement. Adhering to recognized standards and best practices strengthens the chain of custody and integrity of digital evidence, increasing its likelihood of being admitted in legal proceedings. Common forensic methodologies. Here are 5 common methodologies used in the field. 1. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, process. This is a widely recognized framework involving 4 main phases: collection, examination, analysis, and reporting. 2. The SANS Institute's PISERL stand for Preparation, Identification, Containment, Eradication, Recovery, Lessons Learned Model. This is a 6-step incident response methodology. 3. Lessons learned. Analyzing the incident and the response to identify areas for improvement in prevention, detection, and response. 4. The Abstract Digital Forensics Model, ADFM. This model provides a more granular and phased approach to digital forensic investigations. Key phases often include identification, preparation, approach strategy, preservation, collection, examination, and analysis, presentation, and returning evidence. The Casey and Palmer Staircase Model. This model visualizes the process as a staircase where each step represents a phase, and investigators might move up and down the stairs as new information comes to light. The phases typically include survey/identification, preservation, collection/acquisition, analysis, and reconstruction, reporting or presentation, documenting and communicating the findings. 6. The International Organization for Standardization, ISO 27043:2015. This standard provides guidelines for incident investigation principles and processes. It focuses on establishing a consistent and methodical approach to digital evidence. Let's analyze the following case studies to have a clearer understanding of how digits forensics works. Case Study 1. The Disgruntled Employee. A company called Innovate Solutions suspects a recently resigned employee, John Doe, of stealing confidential client lists and proprietary software code before leaving. They noticed him copying large files to a personal USB drive on his last day. John Doe's company-issued laptop, the company's network file server logs, and the USB drive, if recoverable, are vital digital devices and sources of data. Forensic steps taken. 1. Identification. Key assets were John's laptop and server logs. 2. Preservation. An exact forensic image, precisely a bit-for-bit copy of John's laptop hard drive, was created immediately to prevent data alteration. The USB drive was also secured. Server logs for file access and USB activity around John's departure date were preserved. 3. Analysis. The forensic image was analyzed for recently accessed files, deleted files related to client data or source code, and evidence of data transfer to external devices, USB connection timestamps, file copy records. Browser history was checked for access to cloud storage or personal email around the time of the suspected theft. Server logs were examined to correlate file access with John's credentials. 4. Documentation. All steps taken, tools used, and findings, e.g., file paths, timestamps, specific data recovered, were meticulously documented in a chain of custody and a final report. Here are the key digital evidence found. Deleted fragments of the client list on the laptop's unallocated space. Log files showing access to the proprietary code repository, followed by connection of the specific USB drive, and metadata on the USB drive, if recovered and imaged, showing the presence of the company's files. What is the fundamental principle illustrated? Chain of custody and data integrity. Maintaining an unbroken chain of custody and ensuring the integrity of the original evidence through forensic imaging are crucial for the admissibility and reliability of findings. Case Study 2. The Cyberbullying Incident. A high school student, Jane Smith, reports receiving anonymous threatening messages and derogatory images via a social media platform and email. The school needs to identify the source to ensure student safety. Jane Smith's smartphone, her email account, social media platform server logs, if accessible through legal channels, and potentially school network logs if school computers were used. Forensic steps and evidence. 1. Identification. Jane's phone, email content, and social media messages were identified as primary evidence sources. 2. Preservation. Jane's phone was carefully imaged, or relevant data, messages, images, app data, was extracted using mobile forensic tools. Screenshots of the messages were taken by Jane initially and then by investigators. Emails were preserved with full headers. 3. Analysis. Message content, sender information, email headers, social media profile details, even if fake, IP addresses associated with message origins, from email headers or platform logs if obtained, and timestamps were analyzed. Image metadata, EXIF data, was examined for clues about the camera or location. 4. Documentation. All communications, extracted data, analytical steps, and attempts to identify the source were recorded. Here are the key digital evidence found. IP addresses and email headers, which, when correlated with ISP records obtained legally, could point to a specific location or subscriber. Social media platforms might provide account information linked to the anonymous profile if compelled by law enforcement. Metadata and images could inadvertently reveal the type of device used. Fundamental principle illustratif. Traceability and attribution. Even seemingly anonymous digital actions can leave traces like IP addresses or metadata that, with proper analysis and legal process, can help attribute actions to a source. Case Study 3. The Phishing Attack and Financial Fraud. Mr. Adebayo, an accountant at SecurePay Limited, receives an urgent email seemingly from the CEO requesting an immediate wire transfer to a new vendor. He processes it. The next day, the CEO denies sending the email, and the funds are gone. Mr. Adebayo's work computer, company email server, firewall logs, and banking transaction records. Forensic steps. 1. Identification. The phishing email, Mr. Adebayo's computer, email server logs, and network logs were key. 2. Preservation. A forensic image of Mr. Adebayo's hard drive was taken. The original phishing email, with full headers, was preserved. Relevant email server logs and firewall logs around the time of the incident were backed up. 3. Analysis. The phishing email's headers were meticulously analyzed to determine its true origin, sender's actual email address, originating IP, mail servers it traversed. The email content was examined for malicious links or instructions. Mr. Adebayo's computer was checked for malware, keyloggers, remote access Trojans that might have compromised his credentials or facilitated the attack. Network logs were reviewed for suspicious connections. 4. Documentation. Findings regarding the email's origin, any malware found, and the timeline of events were thoroughly documented. Key digital evidence found. Email headers showing the actual sender's address, spoofing the CEO's address, the malicious IP address for which the email originated, and potentially malware signatures on Mr. Adebayo's computer if it was compromised. Fundamental principle illustrated. Analysis of artifacts. Digital artifacts like email headers, log files, and malware signatures provide crucial insights into how an incident occurred and can help identify attack vectors and potentially the attacker's infrastructure. And that concludes Module 3. We've explored the different types of digital evidence, mastered evidence collection methods, and understood the importance of chain of custody and forensic methodology. Remember, a systematic and methodical approach is crucial for conducting successful digital forensic investigations. In our next module, we'll dive deeper into specific forensic techniques and tools. Stay tuned.